When philosophy is wielded with arrogance and stubbornly, it is the cause for the ruin of many. Let philosophy scrape off your own faults, rather than be a way to rail against the faults of others. Anya, a scholar in the austere city of Viridian, possessed a mind as sharp as chipped obsidian and a tongue even sharper. She had devoted 2 decades to the Stoic texts, absorbing every maxim and principle until they felt like the very marrow of her bones. She became known as much for her intellectual rigor as for her utterly relentless criticism of everyone around her. She viewed the world as a broken mechanism, and her philosophical learning, she believed, was the only proper tool to fix it. When her neighbor Ilara spoke of a fear of heights, Anya did not offer comfort. Instead, she lectured, citing Epictetus on the nature of externals and the folly of emotional attachment to indifferent things. Ilara felt diminished, not enlightened. When Anya's younger colleague, Kale, struggled with a personal tragedy, Anya dismissed his grief as an indulgence, coldly reminding him that suffering comes from judgment, not the event itself, quoting verbatim from her favorite scrolls. Kale learned to avoid her entirely, lest his human frailty be subjected to her intellectual bludgeoning. Anya's true downfall, however, was not in her scholarship, but in its application to her own life. She used her philosophy like a mirror turned outward, reflecting the flaws of others but never illuminating her own soul. She meticulously tracked the logical fallacies and emotional excesses of the townsfolk, yet failed to notice the growing resentment she cultivated in her own heart. Her pride in her superior reasoning ballooned into a dense, unbreakable shell. She saw herself as a lonely beacon of truth in a sea of sloppy minds. One day, the revered elder Lyra, whose wisdom was said to precede the city's founding, summoned Anya. Anya arrived ready for praise, perhaps an invitation to join the elders' council, an opportunity to implement her fault-finding on a grander scale. Lyra, seated beneath the ancient olive tree, did not speak of civic matters. She looked at Anya, not with judgment, but with a profound, quiet pity. "Anya," the elder began, "you speak the words of the wise, but your life is a testament to the ruin the quote speaks of. You have mastered the texts, but failed the lesson. You have used your philosophy as a chisel to chip away at the confidence of your neighbors, but you have left the grand, ugly boulder of your own arrogance untouched." Lyra picked up a piece of sandstone and rubbed it gently. The purpose of the stone is not to be a weapon wielded against another hand. It is meant to be a pumice, rubbed against your own rough edges until they smooth. Your philosophy, wielded with such bitterness and arrogance, has caused others to abandon the very wisdom you champion. They see your character and reject the teachings you hold dear. You have not scraped off your own faults. You have merely coated them in a veneer of intellectual superiority. Anya listened, unable to respond. The elder's words found the small, unguarded crevice in her pride and settled there. She realized that in her quest for philosophical purity, she had become purely disagreeable. The very tool meant to cultivate virtue had instead cultivated isolation and contempt. She had created a barren, lonely life not because of the foolishness of others, but because of the unforgiving, arrogant manner in which she judged it. Her own nature, not the world's errors, was the cause of her deep personal void. If this story connected with you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.